Hello, my name is Aaron Cloutier, and on behalf of airgigs.com, I welcome you to this first video in a four-part video series where we're going to be talking about song structure. So to kick things off, we're going to start with learning how to write a catchy chorus because it is arguably the most important part of your song, right? And if you struggle with writing hooks at all, then this video is for you. So what I want to do is break down three core components to create a catchy chorus. Let's get into it. Okay, so the first element to consider when writing a catchy chorus, specifically when we're thinking of like melody and lyric, it all centers around repetition. So, great examples of this would be like Breaking the Law from Judas Priest, right? Like breaking the law, breaking the law. Instantly memorable, so easy to get stuck in your head. It's now stuck in my head. Great use of repetition, not only in the words being used, but if you want to call that, it's not really a melody, but it's a monotone, spoken word. So that reintroduction of those specific tones, I think helps to really cement that in. So other great examples of the use of repetition in a chorus would be Staying Alive from the Bee Gees, right? Like even just saying that out loud, if you've heard the song, I'm sure you're doing exactly what I'm doing right now in my head. I don't know if I can sing it right now for copyright purposes. And for all of you Taylor Swift fans, Shake It Off is a great example of repetition, both in melody and in lyric. And one of my personal favorites, as far as contemporary music goes, is the song The Pretender from Foo Fighters. I personally love the usage of how Dave constructed the melody using a ton of repetition, using very few notes, repeating one of the same note a lot of the time. And then he also repeats the phrase, "What if I say," 3 times in each chorus, which is like the combination of those two elements just immediately creates this really, really potent earworm. So that's my personal favorite. So what all of these examples have in common is that they repeat the phrase at least 2 times, 2 or more times, really. But if you can get it at least 2 times, that will really help to cement that hook in the listener's memory. So key thing to take away from this is that repetition is huge with crafting a chorus. So the second component is what's known as melodic shape. A great chorus usually has a melody that moves up or down, or it's something that rhythmically bounces. So it is singable and it usually lifts compared to the verse. There's a nice bit of contrast between the chorus and the verse. Essentially, you want your chorus melody to feel like a payoff, like the part that listeners are waiting for. Some examples include songs like Aerosmith's Dream On, right? You have this really big, epic, soaring chorus that goes up and down a lot. Think about that. Another great example would be Livin' on a Prayer from Bon Jovi, right? You have this big, epic, soaring melody once again, and it's going up and down. There's peaks and valleys, but I think that soaring element is a real key component as far as crafting the melody for memorability's sake. And as an example, that is a stark contrast to the previous two examples I just mentioned. I want to return once again to The Pretender from Foo Fighters because though there is a lack of a soaring melody as far as the vocals go, there's so much repetition in the rhythm of how the melody is structured. To me, it almost creates this soaring feeling, and it's further accentuated by like the guitar arrangements and everything that's going on in the background. So super, super catchy and a really cool alternative to the big epic soaring vocal type of thing. And the third component is emotional center and contrast. So, what do I mean by emotional center? Basically, what the chorus is designed to do is deliver the emotional message of your song. So, it is the overall message that you're trying to get across. So, being able to lock down what that emotion that you're trying to convey is in simple terms is a great place to start from when writing your chorus. So this is where your core message lives. And to really make your message stand out, you want to create some contrast between your chorus, your verse, and everything else in your song. That contrast could come from a shift in the chords that you're using. A great example of this is the song Mr. Jones from Counting Crows. If you listen to that, you'll hear how the verses are based in A minor, but once the chorus hits, things shift to have a tonal center of C major, which is the relative major of the key anyway, and you can hear a drastic shift in the overall mood. So check that out. It could be changing up the actual rhythm, right? A great example of changing up the rhythm would be Them Bones from Alice in Chains, right? They have everything in 7 during the verses, and then it quickly shifts over to 4 during the chorus. Go check that out. You'll see what I'm saying. Another way to create contrast is just to simply have more energy in your vocal delivery, right? You have more subdued, laid back verses, and then a big explosive chorus. So examples that come to mind is Smells Like Teen Spirit, Nirvana, With or Without You from U2. And once again, I'm going to use my favorite example of this video, The Pretender from Foo Fighters. I'll tell you why in a minute. Those are all great examples of different dynamics in the vocal. So check those out if you haven't heard them before. Okay, so we've talked about repetition, we have talked about melodic shape, and we have talked about emotional center. So now what I want to do is share with you a chorus idea that I wrote using all 3 of these core concepts, just to give you an idea of what it looks like in practice. And then we're going to talk about how I went about putting this together and the things that, you know, I drew inspiration from, and a little kind of step-by-step process that got me to where we are here, in a nutshell. So let's have a listen.
I don't wanna reach out, I don't wanna reach for anyone to bring me down. I just wanna be here, let me stay inside myself when no one is around, and I cannot be found.
Yeah, so there's my example. And let's talk about how I put this together, where I started, because that's, you know, a ton of stuff going on all at once, right? We got full instrumentation, we've got vocals, we got harmonies, we got lyrics. Where do you even start with that, right? So let's talk about that. Okay, so for me, when I am starting out writing a chorus or anything really, it's always melody first. I am big on writing music before any kind of lyrical content comes to the surface, just because if I write a line that is, you know, really poetic or something that's like, ooh, I really like that lyric, I want to make that a song, I always find myself hitting a wall when I try to fit that with pre-existing music or try to write music for it. It's not that I can't do it, but it just takes a lot more time for me personally. And I find that if I just write the music first and then fit lyrics to that pre-existing music, that makes a lot more sense. Okay, so let us take a look under the hood as far as the melody is concerned. So if we take a listen right here, right there, a lot of repetition happening right off the bat. So there's repetition in the specific notes that I'm using in this phrase right here, but also it's using the same rhythmic structure as this. So there's repetition on 2 different levels here. I'm going to play that again just so you hear it. As I was writing this melody, the phrases, the words that were coming to mind were very, very simple. And frankly, I consider the lyrics that I wrote to be very generic. So, you know, take that for what it is. It could be a stepping stone to something hopefully better later. We'll see. But after writing everything, I was kind of like, it's fine. Yeah, I like it. I like it. You know what? I don't hate it enough to share with all of you. So, anyway, the lyrics that came to mind is, I don't want to reach out. So I don't want to reach out right here. So I liked that whole I don't wanna, and I was trying to take a page from Foo Fighters book and implement some of that stuff that they were doing from The Pretender. You know, what if I say I'm not like the others? What if I say I'm not just another one, right? I wanted to take that, you know, repetition of the first few words in the lyric. So I said, I don't want to reach out. I don't want to reach for anyone to bring me down. So that's the whole thing. So. Right? I don't want to reach out. I don't want to reach for anyone to bring me down. That kind of thing. I don't know if that sounds good at all. So apologies if it doesn't. Now, there's one example of repetition. It continues, however. So these two phrases right here repeat once again in the second half of the chorus. So and again, I tried to bring a little bit of that pretender element into the lyric writing. I just want to be here. Really simple stuff, right? So, like, we have the lyrics right here. I don't want to reach out. I don't want to reach for anyone to bring me down. I just want to be here. Let me stay inside myself where no one is around and I cannot be found. So, we're going to get into the emotional center in a second. It doesn't sound that happy, I know. But I want to finish up with the melodic structure going on here. So we have a lot of repetition, but we have a lot of that upward and downward movement as well. Remember, we're talking about the melodic shape of things, right? So this is core component number 2. Seeing how things move up and down, we'll play this one more time. So a lot of it is stepwise motion, right? Just moving in half step or whole step intervals in the melody. It doesn't have to be like that, but it can be a great way to start writing the melody, especially here. And then right there, things build up to a crescendo emotionally and then cool off at the end for a nice resolution. Yeah, so like I said before, I wrote the melody first before any lyrics came to the surface at all. But as I was going through the process, things relating to subjects of social anxiety, depression, even full-on agoraphobia, just, you know, not wanting to step outside and deal with everything that's going on. It seemed like the appropriate thing to write about, especially considering that the music sounded so dark. So, as you can see, the emotional core of this song is based around, you know, fear, social anxiety, depression, and the struggles with that. I am writing this song as we speak, so we'll see if this has a happy ending or not, or we'll see if it's just more of a documentation of like the perspective of this person. Yeah, but I really like how things are going with it. Just to kind of hammer it home, let's listen to this one more time.
I don't wanna reach out. I don't wanna reach for anyone to bring me down. I just wanna be here. Let me stay inside myself when no one is around, and I cannot be found.
All right, so let's recap everything. To write a catchy chorus, you want to, 1, use repetition to make it stick. 2, shape a melody using either a lot of up and down movements or just a lot of rhythmic elements. And 3, hit the emotional core of the song while separating it from the verses, which we're going to get into in the next video. So stay tuned for that. But the thing to keep in mind is that it doesn't have to be complicated. It just has to connect. So thank you for taking time to watch this video. I really hope this was helpful for you. And if you are working on a chorus right now, please let me know in the comments what you are finding to be the most challenging about it as you're going about the process. And if you're looking for help with your own music, come check out my profile on airgigs.com. I'd be happy to have a conversation and see if we're a good fit. Special thanks to Air Gigs for supporting this series. I'll see you on the next one.